I haven't looked at the map to see.
I think what Eric says is.
Right, if there's no other comments, I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay.
Well, like I say, two of them were just assigned to me. They're not assigned to any
Yeah.
piece of property.
And I looked into this a little bit, Bob, excuse me, Craig, if you don't mind. You know, I guess the lining on, the silver lining is that you paid $912 for ordinance 2 fees have gone up to $3,300, so.
Now, if I could sell them to somebody, I'd be very happy.
Well, I hope someday that profits,
Yeah,
I
I
really
do
do.
too. I hope you will.
Appreciate staff for the research, and I think even Mr. Draskowitz realizes that he has been reimbursed for things. So I would move that we deny the request by Robert Draskowitz for reimbursement of impact and ordinance 2 fees.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Those in favor, raise your right hand. 4 in favor, 1 absent. That motion carries. Thank you.
May I just ask, what can I do with them? I mean, what do I do with them?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What can you do with them? Hopefully someday, I hope that someday you develop them and sell them.
I mean,
With the original intent.
on those two that aren't assigned to any property, what do can I just put them on any piece of property I want to without asking you guys? Just
I don't know, we look into that and see
You
what,
have to follow the transfer
That's
policy.
as part of the
Policy,
transfer
just
ordinance
like
2
what we
fees.
just talked about.
well, but we just talked about it, and if he owns another piece of property and wants to use it
You
on it,
have
that's
to
what
just
he's,
follow
that's what he's
the
talking about, right, Bob?
Yeah, I mean,
If
if
you own
I,
another piece in town and wanna use them there, that's
Come in
my
and give
understanding.
a step, go through the process.
It goes through the process.
Right,
do I have to own it?
Yes, you do.
yeah, that was the whole discussion prior,
Mhm.
so.
No,
Yeah,
so
that was part of the clarification discussion we had earlier, was that to transfer ordinance 2 policies does require common ownership.
do I have to own it? If I'm in partners with somebody on it, is that good enough?
Well,
That's part of the clarification, I think we talked originally about substantial ownership,
yeah,
so-
there was some discussion at the last, I guess I'd have to go back and review the tape on that last discussion, but there was discussion about the amount of ownership.
That's-
Because there are, a lot of times developers have different entities that have similar ownership, but different names as far as liability purposes and stuff. So that will be part of the clarification of the policy.
That's part of what you're gonna do for
Yes.
us, right?
So you guys are gonna clarify something after I've already purchased it, right?
Well, the transfer, well, I mean, the transfer policy wasn't adopted at the time you purchased it anyway. That's a new policy.
I know, so I purchased something, and then after I purchased it, you guys have made it so that I can't sell it or transfer it.
No, actually, we made it so
No.
you can transfer it.
The transfer policy is new. You could, originally there was no mechanism to even transfer the ordinance 2 fees. It originally said they're non-refundable and there was no mechanism for transferring. That's a new
Yeah,
addition.
But then what you're saying is those two that aren't attached to a piece of property, just to me. Before you guys made this transfer policy, they were,
But that, Bob, just for clarification, unless you can help me out here, that was you that requested that from us based
Yes.
on your parcel of land. That had nothing to do with the water district. You're the
Yeah.
one that came in and requested that. We can't control what a guy like yourself or developer comes in and requests on hookups, ordinance 2, those kind of things. So that, I mean, I can appreciate where you're coming from on that, but that was something that you thought that you were gonna develop.
so this has always been the policy that you can't use them someplace else or sell them or anything like that? Is
That
always-
was a previous policy, correct?
Yes, the policy